Hey, it's all about the feet. There's going to be other things I say that it's all about, but let me just share that the feet connect this entire line that's on the screen. They call this the superficial back line. This is taken from anatomy trains and using the app Muscles and Motion. I strongly recommend this app for anyone interested in learning more or working with their body. This is not a paid endorsement. I just find it to be very, very interesting. As you can see, this superficial back line, also known in Chinese medicine as the bladder meridian, runs the whole way up the back. It's the paraspinals. It crosses the hips, the butt, the feet, the legs. So plantar fasciitis, headaches on the back of the head, back pain, even some pelvic floor dysfunction, hamstring. All these issues are superficial backline issues. One of the coolest things, and the bladder meridian actually starts right there at the inner canthus of the eye. Bladder 2 is there. They go to say that it finally connects at the brow ridge. So this is the whole back. And go and find me someone without back and neck pain, and well, that's a very fortunate person. I have some very simple exercises and I have more complicated ones. I'm going to give you the simplest right now because you can do it literally as you're listening. I call it toe articulation. Why? Because it involves moving the toes. People that have no hands, arms, we've seen them, videos with them, or at least I have, where they're drawing, or even this one woman who draws with her hands and feet simultaneously for beautiful works of art that I cannot produce with my right hand. Even anything is good. So the way I can articulate my fingers, you could do it too. Our toes have the same capacity. We've shut it off. We have put them in shoes. We've disconnected them from the ground. And in doing so, we've altered the way we connect every time we take a step. Most people with their walking are activating compensatory patterns, meaning most of us are walking totally wrong and causing and exacerbating muscle imbalance. I found this out recently as I started improving my exercises, focusing on the feet. I've historically had very flat feet. As you know, I have hypermobility. I fit the criteria for Ehlers-Danlos. I'm not saying that I'm nearly the same as some of the other cases, but my feet have always been not their ideal architecture. As a kid, I was really fast. I did everything. But as time goes on, it contributed to an exacerbation of the tendency of anterior pelvic tilt. In other words, my hips were a little bit off, and progress a little further if I engaged in exercise too quickly, very likely that I could end up becoming uncomfortable and stopping because of discomfort. I've made it my mission to find how to effectively, quickly, safely, and as simply as possible. That's my main mission, to make it doable, because that's the barrier for so many of us. Literally, start to wiggle your toes. See if you can do something like that. Most likely you can't. At the beginning, it's just going to be lifting them and closing them, and then being able to move the big toe. To start moving just the big toe, then moving the other toes. Over time, and you do this gently and with patience. In my office, I'll work with people, I'll touch the bottom of the pinky toe, and I'll ask them, please push down on my finger. And very, very, very few people can. But what happens is they'll start working to. And we tend to switch into, well, think of yourself doing it, visualize it, because if you try to force it, it's not going to work. You engage big muscle groups and you bypass. But I'll feel a gentle just twitch and I'll be like, you got it. So I'm giving them the feedback because they don't have the awareness. They've shut that down over the course of a lifetime of wearing shoes, of being completely out of touch with the capacity of the feet. When the muscles in the feet are not firing, we're locking up the ankles and we're walking incorrectly. This is not everyone, just most. The solution historically given is get sneakers that give you the arch support, wear the orthotics. And truth be told, sometimes I still do, although very rarely, I'll wear the orthotics in certain shoes because the tendency for my feet to rotate inward, and it prevents that. But the orthotics are not helping me to build the muscle. They're not helping me to improve my overall foot health. They are taking pressure off of some of the hip, low back, etc., the upstream. But articulating the toes, learn to move every toe. And yes, there will be interesting sensations that may even be described as cramping. You'll feel activation of various muscles in the feet. You'll feel activation of various muscles in the calf, particularly the lower half. Those are good signs almost all the time. If you have any pre-existing health issues or if you are at all at risk, please contact your physician and get clearance to do this. The physical therapy exercises that are frequently given are picking up tissues with your toes. That is like doing occupational therapy to rebuild your hands, wearing boxing gloves. Initially, for the gross movements, because of how detached we are from our feet, because of the gross movements, for a lot of people, that's a big step forward, but it's certainly not an end goal. The key to this is be patient and start from where you are. And if you have to sit there holding your foot to feel if a toe moves so you can calibrate, there's nothing wrong with that. You're only going to get better. As you do this, you're rebuilding your connection with the earth. Yes, walk outside barefoot once in a while. Or get a grounding mat. You're rebuilding your connection with the earth. That is going to help improve your ankle mobility because you're starting to trust your feet more because your feet are now part of your nervous system again. There are ankle exercises, and for a lot of the work I've done initially on feet, it does involve move your foot this way and really pull it all the way up. Move it the other way, really pull it all the way up. Move it in every direction and really pull it all the way up or push it all the way down. This is, again, reconnecting you to your range of motion as well as the muscles in your ankle. These are not fancy, and these are certainly not exotic or hard to do exercises. These are the ones you could do sitting in front of the TV, and you're improving your health the entire time. I started doing some more advanced exercises recently, and I've also had some of my patients doing it. I received a text from a patient today because we had had a conversation, him and I, about how I've been doing this, and my gait has completely shifted. I've become more connected and aligned with my grounding. I'm firing more correct muscles when I walk. It feels completely different the way that I move through this world, and my body loves it. My movement feels so much more natural and easy. It's wild at my age to be like, wow, I just learned how to walk. So he texted me this morning, literally what he said, it's funny because I just want to walk everywhere now. I'm like a baby who just learned how to walk. Same thing, because with the anterior pelvic tilt, we're pulling our weight forward and our bodies have to compensate by activating kind of the wrong muscles. That's not exactly true. And so he wrote that yesterday when he was with his kids, he was walking around the grass barefoot and he couldn't get enough. And the terrain was uneven, so he was getting the ankle rotation. We'd been working on that a little too. He was loving it, and he feels so much more grounded and present. He is also aware of firing the correct muscles in his hips and getting the hip articulation. And it's when we start walking correctly, I feel, because I'm in this process too, the tight muscles that have been pulling me forward, every single step is a gentle, natural movement, range of motion stretch. I will be posting a lot more information on this as we go forward. This is an amazing way to calm the nervous system, to become more present, to become healthier, to increase longevity, to make activities like walking and running so much more beneficial for total health, and also over time to mitigate the long-term damage that people get in their hips, knees, ankles, and back as a result of long-distance running. Because when the gait is off, when our stride is off, every step we take is putting a little bit of funny, unusual, or excessive tension on the joints. As we get into alignment at the feet, it aligns over time and rebalances the hips, the low back, mid back, thoracic. That's a whole other game. That's a really fun one to play with. Shoulders and neck. It can and does open up sinuses. It gets rid of headaches. It resolves migraines. It can help take you out of stress, because stress is held in the body. When we move the body correctly, it gets released. So just to get back to the main point, wiggle your toes. Learn how to articulate your toes the same way you do your fingers. I know it seems like, oh my God, how could I possibly do that? I promise you can, but you can't until you start. Make that commitment to yourself. I try to make everything as easy as possible, because compliance is not easy for most of us. While you're sitting there watching TV, start moving your toes. Use that time to heal your body and to get in touch with yourself. I actually started doing a lot of the toe work on myself when I was in a little bit of a phase playing video games, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm wasting all of this time. What am I doing? And I was like, I'm going to start activating my feet. I was so happy because the results started happening. My legs felt better. My gait felt better. The toe movement will strengthen, will activate, will rebalance, and start correcting the foot. From there, when you do the more targeted exercises, your body is already primed to take them and get you the results way faster. For more information, I'm right there. My information's at the bottom. I can also recommend really good people and what to look for if you want this kind of help. If you have any questions, comments, you know how to find me. You guys have a good night.